agencies, including the Vallejo Police Department, for its high quality of work. Can you respond to that?
I would say that Lieutenant Park looked pretty good on camera, but aside from that, everything that came from his mouth was hogwash. It was nonsense. They didn't do a good job in this case. They impeded the investigation to the point where Denise had to suffer through 2 days of anguish and assault. Had they just kept the phone off of airplane mode, had they just had some understanding that maybe possibly that Aaron was telling the truth, they could have found Denise. They could have saved her. I don't think they did a good job at all. I think that's just rhetoric.
The U.S. Attorney's Office in that same statement also said that forensic analysis from Muller's computer, according to the FBI, included recordings where he was simulating whispering. Do your client still believe that there were other people involved?
There are many factors that lead us to believe that other people were involved.
So far, he pled guilty to 1 count of kidnapping. He has not pled guilty to anything that he's done to Aaron or the other crimes against Denise. What is your hope now? I mean, the DA of Solano County still has an opportunity, right?
We have 2 hopes as it relates to the crimes that he is not prosecuted for, because as you're well aware, there are many offenses here that could have been prosecuted. Burglary, auto theft, burglary with the intent to commit a sexual assault, burglary with the intent to commit a kidnapping, assault, many of which require life terms in state court. But it's my understanding that the state court prosecutor is not moving forward. The information that I have is that the federal authorities have not yet provided reports to the state court prosecutor, and that Ms. Abrams would like to move forward if she could receive those reports.
Can you talk at all about how your clients are doing? They're standing here, and it seems that they won't be speaking today unless they want to. Are you able to speak? And if not, can you talk about how they're doing?
I can speak as to how they're doing. For a couple that has gone through an ordeal like this, they have exhibited tremendous strength, and in some sense, they've been through this together. It's been an unfortunate bonding experience in some sense, albeit one they would have never liked to have had. But they're very strong, thoughtful, loving, caring, compassionate people. Just people who should have never had to endure what they faced at the hands of Mr. Muller or at the hands of the system. But we're hopeful that the system is now going to work.
Is there any sense of relief that he has now admitted it, and whether going to prison for life or for 40 years, that he is, for the most part, going to be off the streets for a long time to come, or are we not ready for any relief at this point?
We're not ready for relief at this point.
What has to happen before there's some sort of relief?
The system has to work. The system has to make sure in their minds, first and foremost, because they are caring people, because they do care about others. They're both physical therapists who handle cases with patients with very serious medical conditions. They're people that care very deeply about other people. And rightfully, they are worried that if Matthew Muller is released, he will commit additional offenses. So they're concerned for the public at this point. So once the sentencing is complete, then they can move on.
Can you tell us what it was like for them, for at least Muller to plead guilty to what he did today? I mean, I don't know if you were with them when that happened.
It's certainly a large hurdle in this process, and they're certainly happy they don't have to go through a trial. They don't have to publicly relive the humiliation, the shame that they went through on that evening.
Would they be willing to go through a trial if when you say the state prosecutor, you mean one of the county prosecutors, right? For the other charges, the laundry list?
They would have been willing to go through a federal trial. They're willing to go through a state trial. And if that's what it takes, that's what they're going to do.
Based on that deep concern and care for the public, I want to give you the opportunity, Doug. Should law enforcement be looking for additional suspects? Is the public safe right now?
That's an open question, and I think it needs to be explored.
Can you go back to the part where you said there's conflict of interest with the lead FBI agent in this case? What was his connection to the intended victim?
Okay. Let me explain the connection. Is first and foremost, in any kidnapping or any assault on a woman, the initial suspects are the husband, the boyfriend, or former partners. we had information to believe, which we learned in part through investigation and in part through, believe it or not, Facebook, that the lead case agent here, David Sesma, had a personal connection to the intended victim of the kidnapping. Ms. Huskins was not the intended victim. Another woman should have been taken. So clearly, I think, in my mind, the suspects that you would initially look to are her boyfriend, her ex-partners, people that she was familiar with in her life who may have had a reason to harm her.
So you didn't answer her question in terms of what the connection was.
You'll have to ask Agent Sesma. But,
Really?
yes, really.
I mean, you're just kind of making a bold general claim without...
I'm making a claim that there's a conflict of interest. You tell me what that conflict is.
They had a romantic relationship. Are you suggesting that?
I'm suggesting they were familiar with each other on some level.
Do you believe, Doug, that their familiarity may have inspired Sesma to immediately discount this whole thing as a hoax from the beginning?
Well, I don't know why he discounted it as a hoax, but certainly that's a legitimate theory, is that the lead FBI agent, given his personal familiarity with the intended victim, focused on areas other than who the true kidnapper was.
Are you at all familiar with, okay, so